Hi there and welcome along. Today we're taking a look at two independent cinemas that nestled in the town of North Walsham in Norfolk. Their existence overlapped for just 1 week. They were the Regal and the Picturedrome. Now sadly I have no pictures of the auditoriums of either cinema, although I did visit the Regal just after it closed, but more on that later. But right now, let's get underway. Firstly, let's look at the Picturedrome that was situated in King's Arms Street, North Walsham. The Picturedrome, a conversion of existing premises, was opened by 1912 by Henry Nixon, who had leased the building from John Dixon. It had 1 screen and 420 seats. It offered 1 show nightly and had 2 changes of programme every week. Now the lease entitled John Dixon, the owner, to 2 seats at any performance for him or his family. He was also the organist and choirmaster for North Walsham St Nicholas Church at that time, and he would give free tickets for the Picturedrome to his choir boys to encourage them to turn up for choir practice. The small plain building offered a cosy retreat despite its lack of refinery. The floor was raked at the rear, with a box consisting 6 seats for special patrons. The Picturedrome generated its own electricity thanks to a gas engine and dynamo house situated just 10 feet behind the auditorium, and the premises was brilliantly lit both inside and outside. The managers were Harold and Mrs. Lydia Coates, who came from London to manage the cinema for all of its life. They ran the shows with very little help, with Mr. Coates producing the publicity material and also maintaining the generator. Lydia Coates was the pianist throughout the silent era. Harold even operated the projectors full-time when his assistant was called up during World War I. The cinema closed in 1931, only managing to survive for 1 week after the opening of the new Regal cinema on New Road, North Walsham. Most of the equipment remained on site some time after closure because insurance cover for 1934 lists gas engine and dynamo, Crossley engine and dynamo, and a Petter engine and dynamo, noting that all the above are declared silent, but notice is to be given if used again. In 1939 the building was taken over by the Army and was used as a mess hall for D Company, 5th Battalion, Norfolk Regiment. Friday night dances were held there, and it was said that due to the sloping floor, dancers went down on the right side and up on the left, or else. Since then the building had a number of uses, including dry cleaning, Martin's second-hand store and Eastern carpets, before being demolished to make way for, you guessed it, flats. Let's move on now and look at the Regal Cinema in New Road. It was the first cinema in Norfolk to be built specifically for talking pictures, the builder being Thomas Gill and Son of Norwich, and it cost £3,000 in the building slump at the time, and it was completed in just 14 weeks. It was built for Victor Harrison of VE8 Cinemas. It seated 585 people and had a proscenium width of 30 feet. Interior decorators were Crotch and Son, who produced an Egyptian style with a ceiling in motifs of terracotta lotus flowers in orange, blue and green. It opened on the 7th of September 1931. The opening ceremony was performed by Guy Fanshawe. He was East Norfolk's prospective Conservative Party candidate at the time. The opening film was A Warm Corner starring Leslie Henson, and the evening benefited North Walsham Cottage Hospital. I've been very lucky in finding for you now a copy of the opening programme from 1931. Here it is, enjoy. The manager on opening was Mr. J. Corner, and admission prices were 2 shillings, 1 and 6, 1 and 3 and a shilling. In today's money, that varied from 10p down to 5p. By 1953, according to the Kinney Yearbook, the original seating capacity of 585 had been slightly increased to 602. The manager at that time was Mr. D. Hicks. Now here's an image of staff in the foyer amid a display for Doctor in the House. Left to right, Doris Heath, Mrs. Hedge, Ron Dorman, the manager, Evelyn Kennedy, Enid Denny and Tress Powles. Now here's another photo, Ron Dorman, the manager again, photographed with a few army personnel promoting a film, but we don't know which one it was. The building in the background later became New Road Garage, then Cando, and has now been completely removed, along with the Regal Cinema. In approximately 1972, when Victor Harrison retired to South Africa, he gifted the Regal in North Walsham to his long-serving secretary, Mrs. Matthews, who carried on running the cinema. In its later years, bingo was introduced, interspersed with the film shows. But sadly, Mrs. Matthews decided to call it a day, and the Regal closed completely on Saturday the 19th of August 1978. The final film was Walt Disney's Swiss Family Robinson. Now I received a call from Mrs. Matthews at Stowmarket Regal, another VE8 site, saying that if I needed any equipment or spares, I was to meet her at North Walsham. Now I was just a boy trainee when I first met Mrs. Matthews. She always accompanied Victor Harrison in the 60s as he paid regular visits to his 3 remaining cinemas at the time, the Regals at Stowmarket, North Walsham and Cromer. It was a sad sight indeed, looking at that empty and silent auditorium that was never again to show another film. The projection room was where the circuit engineer Cyril Stowers had kept his spares. We were all on BT8 Super Mark IIs. After chatting for a while, I loaded my car with spares that I could put to good use. I wished Mrs. Matthews well in her retirement and I drove home. I regret though not having more notice, as I could have hired a van, took a ladder and returned with the screen curtains and so much more. It would have been good if I could have done that. Another sad ending for a once very popular cinema. After standing vacant, the building was taken over by a motor vehicle dealership. It was later home to North Walsham Plant Hire. It was sadly demolished around May-June 2018. It had deteriorated badly. Sheltered housing in the form of the Louis Arthur Court was built on the site. Now I happened upon the North Walsham Archive Facebook page and found an account from Ray Baker, one-time projectionist at the Regal, and this next bit is in his own words. Here we go. I used to work 9 till 12 Monday to Friday. Once a week I'd dust the screen. The projector lighting was carbon arc, so another morning was spent cleaning out the arcs on both projectors. They were BT8 Super Mark IIs. The never-ending job was refixing the loose seats back on the floor. Then there was all the bingo stuff to put out on the stage for Tuesday and Thursday nights, as well as changing the posters outside for upcoming films. Then back at 6:30 to get ready to show the films at 7 p.m, all for the princely sum of £5 a week. When I started at North Walsham Garage next door, I just used to show the films and I got £1.50 a night. A couple of hours on a Sunday morning packing away the previous week's films to go back and making up the new ones onto reels. It didn't seem like work, it was more like a hobby. Now it was very emotional on the last night. It was my last shift, obviously, on Saturday the 19th of August 1978. Ex-projectionists, my brother Tony Binks, Brian Stolworthy and David Temple came up to the projection room to do their bit for the final performance. You know, bringing the house lights up, closing the curtains, etc. But I turned the running projector off for the last time. The other one I'd got ready for a staff get-together after the show. We put trestle tables down near the screen with a buffet and plenty of drinks. I fired up the other projector with a load of old, mostly black and white adverts, Wolves and Lions made ice cream, Kiora, etc., you know the ones. The only local adverts I can remember were Mears Jewellers and North Walsham Garage, but there were several more. This party went on for several hours and it was daylight by the time we all left. Most worse for drink, I'm afraid. Working at the garage next door, it was heartbreaking to pop in and see the seats being removed, the screen, stage, etc. being torn down. Fond memories. Well, let's take a fun look at what they might have been viewing on the screen at that party. Some old ad sales.
Cornish dairy ice cream, made with egg and fresh butter. Strawberry Cornish dairy ice cream. Fresh strawberries, crushed and taken to the heart of Lion's Made Cornish Sundae. On sale now.
Excuse me. I hope you don't think I'm trying to pick you up or anything. As a matter of fact, normally I find it quite difficult to talk to girls, but I bought you this Pepsi and came over to try to get to know you because, well, you look like the kind of girl I could talk to.
Jeg kan ikke forstå, at du siger, at du må tage noget langsommere. Jeg lærte engelsk til skolen, men det var ikke...
Little smack, little squinch and ace, tasting motivating good, but some cool, talking high, walking fast, living in a giving cool, fizz in Pepsi.
Well, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed that look back at the Regal and the Picturedrome in North Walsham. Until next time, be good to each other, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da.